What does it really take to hold on to who you are, to your integrity, when you feel like you have absolutely nothing left? We're about to dive into a story from Makkah, a timeless one, that really tests the limits of faith and patience when things get unimaginably tough. But before we go any further, let me ask you this. Seriously, put yourself in this situation. Your family is starving, you are desperate, and then boom, you find a fortune. What do you do? Just hold on to that thought, because we're about to meet a man who faced that exact gut-wrenching dilemma. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story is about a man named Abu Zulekha. He's 60 years old, living in Mecca, and it's the holy month of Ramadan. And his faith, well, it's about to be put to the ultimate test. To say Abu Zulekha's situation was dire, that's an understatement. I mean, for 3 whole days, not a single scrap of food had entered his home. He, his wife, and his 2 young daughters were fasting, sure, but the problem was they had nothing to break their fast with in the evenings. And it wasn't for lack of trying. He searched everywhere for work, but found nothing. That feeling, the weight of his family's hunger, it was just crushing him. His wife, Kulsum, seeing the absolute pain in her daughter's eyes, she just pleaded with him to try one more time. You can hear it in her words, right? It's this mix of complete desperation, but also this incredible, unwavering faith, just trusting that somehow God would provide a way. So Abu Zulekha drags himself out the door again. And after another day of searching with nothing to show for it, he just collapses in this deserted valley, totally dejected. And as he's sitting there, just mindlessly running his hand through the soft dirt, he feels something. It's a silk bag. And it's heavy. And inside that bag, a fortune in gold coins. But you have to understand, this discovery wasn't some simple solution to all his problems. Oh no, it was the beginning of an intense internal war between his desperate need and his profound faith. And this is where the real struggle kicks in. On one side, you have this immediate agonizing reality. His daughters are starving. It's been 3 days. On the other side, you have this deeply ingrained belief that this money, this wealth, is not his to take. It's a trust, it's forbidden, and to use it would be a betrayal of everything he stood for. The temptation must have been immense. You can almost hear the thoughts racing through his head. Maybe I could just take a few coins, just a few, and replace them later. But his conscience immediately fires back. He tells himself, have patience. He reminds himself that he's in the final years of his life, and there's no way he's going to sacrifice a lifetime of integrity for a moment of relief. And that struggle, it didn't just stay in his head, it followed him home. When his wife saw the gold, her first thought was their children. She begged him, please, let's use it to feed them. But Abu Zulekha's resolve was like iron. He saw the danger in that path so clearly that he told her if she so much as touched that bag, he would divorce her. It sounds drastic, but for him it was about protecting them both from this huge breach of trust. Okay, so he's passed the test of his own conscience, but now a new trial begins. He decides to find the owner, right? He's hoping that maybe, just maybe, his honesty might earn him a small, legitimate reward, something he could actually use to feed his family. This, it turns out, would be a whole different kind of test, a test of his perseverance. So the next day, he's in the city and he hears a man from Yemen making an announcement. He's lost a bag with 1,000 gold coins. This was it. This had to be the guy. So Abu Zulekha approaches him, but he doesn't just hand the bag over. He has an idea.
Abu Zulekha sort of advises the man. He says, you really should announce a reward. Someone might have found it who really needs the money. He suggests 100 coins. I mean, that's only a tenth of the whole fortune. But the owner, he flatly refuses. It's too much, he says. Abu Zulekha just couldn't believe his ears.
But he couldn't give up. Not yet. With that image of his starving family burned into his mind, he decides, okay, I'll approach him again tomorrow. He was hoping, maybe a night's sleep might have made the man reconsider. This time, he lowers the suggested reward way, way down. Okay, what about just 10 coins, he asks. It's a tiny fraction of the first offer, barely enough for a few days' food. But it's something. And the answer was exactly the same. Just a simple, firm no. The owner stubbornly insisted he was just going to leave the matter in God's hands. So on the 3rd day, Abu Zulekha makes one last desperate attempt. I mean, his hope is just fading fast at this point, but the thought of his hungry daughters, it just keeps pushing him forward.
He goes up to the man and says, all right, forget 10 coins. How about you announce a reward of just a single gold coin? 1 coin. The person who found it could buy food for his family, maybe a water skin, to earn a living.
The response was just stunning in how final it was. Absolutely not. I will not give a single coin. And right there, in that moment, any hope Abu Zulekha had for a worldly reward for his honesty, it just vanished. So, having been denied even the smallest, most reasonable reward, Abu Zulekha made his decision. He was going to return the gold, no conditions, no reward. And this is where the story takes its most incredible, unbelievable turn. He led the Yemeni man to his humble home, brought out that silk bag, and just emptied all the gold onto the ground. They counted it together, 1,000 gold coins. Every single one was there. The Yemeni man packed up his gold, and then, to Abu Zulekha's complete astonishment, he just turned around and walked away. But just a few moments later, the man came back. He looked right at Abu Zulekha and finally revealed the truth. The gold was never actually lost. It was an inheritance, and his father had given him one final, crucial instruction. Find the most pious and the neediest man in all of Mecca and give this wealth to him. And then the man looks at him and says, I have tested many, but I have found no one more deserving than you. And just like that, he placed the entire bag of 1,000 gold coins, now totally permissible, rightful, and blessed, right into Abu Zulekha's hands. The one single coin he was denied was returned to him 1,000 times over. So, what's the ultimate lesson here? Well, it's about how patience, real patience, is rewarded in ways we can't possibly see coming. It's about how honesty isn't something you do when it's easy. It's non-negotiable, even in the depths of despair. And it shows that real wealth isn't just about what you have, but about how you got it. But maybe the most important lesson is what Abu Zulekha did next. He immediately went out to find another family in need, reminding all of us that the true purpose of any blessing is to be shared. And that brings us right back to the beginning. Abu Zulekha faced his test with this unbelievable faith. It really makes you stop and reflect on your own life, doesn't it? What was the greatest test of your integrity, your character, and how did you respond?